I live in Kansas City, Missouri. It's right on the border of Kansas and Missouri. We actually have a road here in Kansas City, Missouri called State Line, and when you're driving one way on it, you're in Kansas, and the other way, you're in Missouri. And so I'm lucky enough here in Kansas City, Missouri to have two NPR stations. I have KCUR, which is located in Kansas City, Missouri proper, and it does a lot of news programming and local news programming as well, a lot of shows that are designed to keep people up to date. There's actually one called Up to Date. And then in Lawrence, Kansas, where KU is located, is about 25 miles from me, about 45 minutes from where I live. And there's an NPR station there too called KPR, Kansas Public Radio, and their listening audience spreads all the way out into Kansas, into the plains of Kansas. And KPR's programming differs drastically from KCUR's programming. KPR does NPR in the morning and in the afternoon, and then they have some shows in the evening, but from 9 to 3 they play classical music. And they have two DJs. They have Mark Edwards in the morning and then Jeff Watson in the afternoon. And it's one of the few places in the country these days that play classical music on the FM dial. And they're very proud that they keep doing that they're not, what's it called, where you're bringing it in from satellite, just buying a package, and so you get canned classical music. They have actual DJs who take requests and who do a lot of thinking and try to play things that are meaningful and timely. And so that's one of the things they're proudest of. The other thing that they're very proud of, and rightly so, is that they have built a live performance studio in the building of KPR. And what they do is, as people come through town or even local organizations, as they're performing, if they're doing a local performance, KPR often invites them to come do a performance in studio that they spread out on the airwaves. And this was one of the things that helped Octarium kind of take a leap off the ground. We were probably even, it was early, second season is my guess. I could look it up and find the actual time period. But in our second season, I managed to charm the classical music director at that time named Rachel Hunter into having us out into the live studio at KPR. And it was one of the things that really helped us start to reach a larger audience. We were having concerts that 50 people were coming to, and after KPR we had 100. But what has helped more is that we were live on KPR and we reached 100,000 people, and how that has affected our ability to market ourselves and be more prevalent in our region, but also in the world. Long before we could afford to do recordings, we had KPR recordings that we could use for grants and donation asks and things of that nature. So KPR has been a really integral part of Octarium's success. And so I try to do all I can to help KPR. And so every year when they have their annual pledge drive, actually they're biannual, they do one in the spring and one in the fall. I think most NPR stations are like that. But I always go out and I help pitch with NPR. And they love it when I come out there because I'm a little bit unconventional, and I don't do the NPR good times. And I think people like that. It's always fun to pitch. I went out there to pitch. I took my video camera. I was going to give you a little taste of what it's like to pitch and how you plan a pledge break. But my video camera died, so I only got a little bit before I even went on the air. But you sit around a table, you have 3 people, and you plan your pledge break. So you're going to open, and you're going to, push the button when we come over from the other studio and welcome you to Pledge Central. And we're going to have a theme. Is our theme going to be KPR helps with community? Is our theme going to be let's talk about the live studio? Is our theme going to be value? Assign your own value. This year KPR really did a lot of work on how much is KPR worth to you? Do you listen every day to public radio? And if you do, think about how much that would cost if it was a service you were paying for, and then give half of that. So that's what I did this week. I have a little short clip before my video camera died on me, my new video camera. And it is Laura Lorison of KPR. She's the afternoon news anchor. And Daryl Brogdon, who does a show called Right Between the Ears, and who is in charge of the pledge drive and very experienced and very good at making the argument for support public radio. So it's just a little fun snippet of the studio and kind of how it works. Not enough, certainly, but it does give you an idea. And if you listen to public radio, call and pledge. You don't have to pledge a lot. And that's the theme I made this week, is that it's like a snowflake. One snowflake doesn't make much of a difference. But if a bunch of snowflakes get together, suddenly you have a snowball and you can pelt somebody right in the face. So will you be one of those little snowflakes? If you can only give $10, call. Give $10 to the radio station or to your public TV station or to your local music organization or to your local school. Decide what's important to you and then give in small amounts. Even if you don't think you can afford to give, you should give in small amounts, because if everybody gave in small amounts, all of us nonprofits, arts nonprofits and otherwise, you would all be fine if everybody who thought about giving actually gave. So that's my theme for the week. Here's a little clip from the studio, and I hope you guys have a good week. I'll see you next week.
Great job.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Carol Brogdon, ladies and gentlemen.
How are you? Happy to see you here today. Have you pledged yet? If not, you'll be hearing from me.
What's the number?
The number is 1-888-577-5268. Dramatic pause.
Dramatic pause, radio
Thank you.
voice. You're welcome. Is it okay if I stand here and do this, or does that make you uncomfortable?
Or it can be more uncomfortable, like at any given moment. No.
Yeah, the pitching process.
Well, I guess it probably could. You know, nerve center of pitching here at Kansas Public Radio, and as you can see, we're pretty madcap.
Yeah.
And
Bouncing off the walls.
we need one of those little portable trampolines in here. That'd be good. So it's very.
Need a big
A
one.
lot of people believe that, you know, Alec Baldwin just kind of shows up and hangs out at the public radio station, and he totally doesn't. That's a huge lie.